All right, everybody. Hello and good afternoon. Good Friday afternoon. Did not plan on doing a live stream or a video today. I'm just doing a live stream right now because the video for from the cop who murdered Renee Good came out. Now, I guess a right wing organization decided to release this video. Think it was like a good idea. So I do want to go through this video because what it does is it shows cold blooded murder. Now, I try to keep this channel based on politics. Okay, I try or campaigns, elections, things like that. And a few months ago, I said I'm not sure we're going to have campaigns and elections. Well, we'll have campaigns, but will the elections happen? People were like, "Nah, we'll still have them," but now I hear more people coming to my side. But anyway, what I want to do is I want to look at this video that came out because to me, even though I'm going to talk about campaigns and elections, I cannot not talk about this stuff. I mean, it's the systemic murder of Americans on our street. Now, I already mentioned this is a predominantly white neighborhood. This is a precinct that won 88% for Kamala Harris. Yes, there are some Hispanic neighborhoods close by, uh, but it does seem like the Gestapo, the ICE Gestapo, that their targets they're going into white liberal democratic neighborhoods. Okay, that's not coincidental. But let's go ahead and watch this video. Now, unfortunately, I have to put the name Jonathan Ross on there, and I feel sorry for the comedian Jonathan Ross. But we're going to watch this video, and then we're going to watch towards the end where it really shows that was cold blooded murder. So let's go ahead and play this. I love that. So, like, this is what they're going with the narrative right away when she says, like, that's all right, dude. Like, I'm not mad at you or whatever. What did she say exactly? Let's go back.
That's fine, dude. I'm not mad at you.
That's fine, dude. I'm not mad at you. How can you go with this terrorist type of story and whatnot when she has a smile on her face, something saying that and literally saying, I'm not mad at you. People said they can't see it. My mistake. Let's go back to the beginning. I forgot to switch screens. Sorry about that. Now, she's already in reverse at that time. Now, if she truly was going after him, why didn't she just floor it right here? This is the thing no one is ever talking about. That if she really wanted to hit him, here he is, front and center. Why wouldn't she just floor it right at that point? Right? Why would she even attempt to back up? An attempt to back up in this case is showing that you're doing an attempt to do a 3-point turn. If you're trying to attempt to do a 3-point turn, that means you're trying to do a big turn in a place where you don't have much space and that you are perpendicular to the road, which in this case, she is perpendicular to the road. So their narrative already breaks down in the fact that she's trying to do a 3-point turn and the fact that she's backing up. So their narrative already breaks. She could have gone after him right then. She did not. Let's keep on going. Yeah, and somebody mentioned this, look at the direction of her tire. She is backing up. That is a backing up of a 3-point turn, where you back up this way, turn your wheels the other way, and go that way. She was purely trying to get out of there. Now let's look at what she says.
That's fine, dude. I'm not mad at you.
The second that she says that, where's the terrorist there? Right? Where's the terrorist argument there? This is absolutely insane. Okay, so let's look at it so far. Now he's going to go around the car and then murder her. But let's go ahead and look at this so far. He comes in front of the car. The other agents, remember, come to her driver's side window and then try to open up the door. She wanted to hit him. She could have hit him right there. This officer showing no emotion, being a total piece of shit, not saying anything, just looks at her and she's like, that's fine, dude. I'm not mad at you, or I'm not, angry at you or whatever. That is about the best thing that she could have said, because it totally blows away there. She is a, Antifa terrorist. Okay, let's keep going.
Show your face. I'm not mad at you. That's okay. We don't change.
And there she says it again. She says again, I'm not mad at you. Okay. So that's another thing. Now, Christine Nome said that they were trying to get a car or one of their vehicles out of snow. This guy drove up and came out of his car. The other cars then came up to them. Where was the car stuck in the snow? Like, where is this actual car? It does not exist. It is not there. Another lie that the Trump administration is floating.
Okay, plates every morning, just so you know. It'll be the same plate when you come talk to us later.
Now, apparently, from what I've seen, this is a Renee Good's wife. Okay. And of course, the right-wing media plays that because, even if I'm not the biggest person when it comes to identity politics, the way that the right goes with it is just fucking insane. Okay, so this is her kind of antagonizing the police officer.
It's fine. U.S. citizen, former fucking country.
Okay, and let's go back here. So there's a few things in this clip here I want to show. First and foremost, you have witnesses, right? We already know what this guy's name is. I'm sure they know where he lives. We have video evidence, and we have a ton of witnesses to say that he killed Renee Good. This should be prosecuted by the state of Minnesota, first and foremost. So you have witnesses. You have now camera evidence from him, and you have camera evidence in general. So you have that. The second thing is, this right here is a car parked on the side of the road. It has a Minnesota license plate. This is going to be a neighbor. Let me expand this again. Here's his car. Okay, if his car was the one stuck in the snow, there's no fucking snow right here. That is clear road. Now, I live in Illinois. I drive in snow. Okay, I lived in Montreal. I drive in snow. If you can't get out of this, you're a pretty shitty fucking driver. Now, let's keep going.
You want to come at us? You want to come at us? I say go get yourself some lunch, big boy. Go ahead.
So you can tell, she's antagonizing him. Like, we already know that this guy has anger management problems because, they said he was dragged 100 feet holding onto a car. That's more of a him problem than a them problem. Okay, obviously this guy is, has a problem with controlling himself. All right, so now we start seeing, and this is where we need to start listening to some of the words, okay? But we start seeing the other masked Gestapo back here going after him, or going toward the car, excuse me.
Car. Get out of the fucking car.
Go ahead.
Out of the car. Get out.
Go ahead.
Out of the car. Get out of the fucking car.
Now, here's the thing. They can't tell her to get out of the car. Okay? She's not, and especially if she's getting ready, she's already started backing up. They have no right to tell her to get out of the car. She is not a threat or a danger to anyone whatsoever. Okay, they have not pulled her over for any reason whatsoever. There is no suspicion whatsoever that she has narcotics or a weapon or anything like that. In fact, to the contrary, we already saw the evidence already with her saying, I'm not mad at you, and repeating it a number of times. Okay, so the evidence is already there. Let's keep on going. So they're yelling, get out of the car, get out of the car. She does not need to get out of the car. Okay, and there are enough people who are lawyers, who are or online that actually talk about these things and say, you know, you have your constitutional rights, which are totally being violated in the United States right now. You have your constitutional rights. And in this situation, they're telling her to get out of her car. She does not need to get out of her car without probable cause, which there is none here. Let's see if I can. Now she's backing up. She started her 3-point turn. You can see which way her tires are pointed. Okay, easily to get an angle going the other way. Now, he is now square with the car. This Gestapo Ross guy. He is square with the car. If she wanted to go now and go straight, she would hit him right now. She could do it right now. She could have done it the first time that we showed at the beginning of the video, but she could have done it right now as well. So there were two opportunities where if she was a quote unquote domestic terrorist, she could have hit this guy square on. Both times she refused. In between the time that she could have done it the first time and the time she could have done it the second time, she said, I'm not mad at you. Okay? So that creates her state of mind. Okay? Okay. Now, she keeps backing up. And this is her wife trying to get in the car. Now for the next little bit, watch how her hands are moving the steering wheel. Or wait. We'll have to go back. So she backs up, and then you can see her going like this. You only do the steering wheel like this if you plan on making a sharp right-hand turn, right? Not a left-hand turn, not straight. She is making a turn because at this point, let's go back. At this point here, right here, she starts making the turn. Okay? He is somewhat in front of the car, but she's clearly moving the steering wheel to try to avoid him. Because right now, if she wanted to hit him, why would she be turning the wheel? Why would she be turning the wheel if she wanted to hit him? Okay. Now, let's keep going. Now, she starts going forward. Now, remember, he's holding. Now, remember, by this time, he already has his gun drawn. We don't see this in the video, but if you look at the other videos, his gun is already drawn at this point. So, at this point here, where she is easily showing that she's turning her hands sharply to the right to get out of there, okay, he already has the intention to kill. He already has the intention to shoot her, as she is clearly showing at this point. Let's play it again. At this point, where she moves the steering wheel that way, he's already got his gun out and like completely out of the holster. He already has the intention to kill. Okay? Now, here it looks, people are saying that this looks closer. First of all, she's hardly moving. Second of all, there's the dipshit there. Okay? Please, internet, find this guy. Okay? Do your job. Anyways, he's got a gun in his right hand. And I'm not sure where he had the phone originally. It would be actually interesting to see where he had the phone originally, because if he had the phone originally in his right hand and then he had to shift it to his left hand to get his gun, okay, he's moving his phone and his gun at the same time. And chances are when he starts shooting, he's not going to shoot with one hand like this. He's going to have his hand on the gun. So what we're probably seeing right now, we're seeing his face. We're seeing him point the gun. And he probably has, do I have my phone here? I don't have my phone here. He probably has the part of his phone with the camera on it facing like this as he's shooting his gun. So he's recording himself because he's shooting his gun. So that's the only reason why this phone moves is because he moves it to get a better grasp of his gun. Had nothing to do with the car. All right, let's keep going. So, let's listen to when the shots happen. From when we see his face. Oh! There's the first shot. Right? There's the first shot right there. Okay, hold on.
Get out of the car.
Oh! Right. So, that purely shows he was like how fast that was. He already had his gun out. He already was going to shoot her. Okay. Let's keep going. Fucking bitch. You hear fucking bitch at the end. Now, let's go back to this. Let's listen to what he said at the beginning, and then when he goes, whoa. Oh!
Get out of the car.
Oh! Okay, that sounds like the same voice. The voice that said, whoa, and the voice that said, fucking bitch. Okay? That person was just told a few minutes before, I'm not mad at you. And his response is, fucking bitch. He purely murdered this woman. Purely. There's no question. There's no ambiguity. Okay, and the Republicans, it comes to the point, as I've mentioned, I'm eventually going to be moving to Europe. And one of the reasons why I'm going to be moving to Europe is because of shit like this happening in the United States, but also to be able to say on this channel what I want to be able to say. Which is not what I think a lot of us feel safe saying here in the United States. But yeah, I mean, the evidence is purely there. The evidence is purely there. She's moving the wheel. As a matter of fact, let's go. We're timestamp 36.
Get out of the fucking car. Get out of the car.
Okay. So at 40 seconds, she's already turned the wheel. Oh! At 42 seconds, right at 42 seconds, he's shooting. Okay, so it's about a second and a half. He had to have already had that gun in his hand and have the intent to kill. Now, of course, they could take the gun out of the holster for any reason. There's not like there's any reason to take the gun out, but it does seem like he might have even had the intent to kill this woman even before she left. Okay. It does seem like that's the case. Now, if we ever do get body cam footage, it's not going to be like with the phone where he's holding it to hold his gun. It's going to be there. I don't even know if they have body cam footage. I mean, they covered her face. They might not even have this. But this is murder. This is murder in the United States. State-sanctioned murder in the United States of an innocent civilian. And to me, it's not coincidental that they did it in a white, liberal, very liberal, progressive neighborhood. It's not a mistake that the narrative that came out that she's a domestic terrorist. It's not a mistake that Jesse Waters sits there and focuses more on her identity than he focuses on the crime. And the question we have to ask ourselves as Americans is what do we need to do to get rid of this? Right? I mean, what is the goal to get rid of this? I made a video a few months ago and I took it down. I think I'm going to put it back up saying, you know, the people who survived 1930s Germany are the ones that got out in 1933. Now, of course, everyone doesn't have that luxury. I'll admit I have that luxury. So let me look. So somebody mentioned this. If you look at when he comes around here, like his reflection.
That's okay. We don't change our plates.
Oh, there we
every
go.
morning.
So now we can see. So he has the camera in his right hand. Okay, so he has the camera in his right hand. What I want to do is see when he switches the camera over from his right to his left hand. Because at that time, that tells me that is his intention to draw his
plates
weapon.
every morning, just so you know. It'll be the same plate when you come talk to us later. That's fine. U.S. citizen, former fucking veteran. You want to come at us?
Okay, there it is. There it is right there. He changes his camera over to his left hand right there at 31 seconds. A good 11 seconds before he shoots the first shot. Don't know if that one's the fatal one or not. So he now,
come at us?
right here,
go get yourself some lunch.
switches over from the right hand to the left hand. So that means he has all intention to use this right hand to grab that gun. It's at this point right here, and interestingly, when she kind of gets on his nerves, it's at this point right here, this guy, Jonathan Ross, internet, do your job, Jonathan Ross had the intention to kill. Right here. Let's go back. Let's look at the whole thing. Or no, let's just go back.
The same plate when you come talk to us later. That's fine. U.S. citizen, former fucking veteran. You want to come at us? You want to come at us?
Right there, intended. He's at that point. I believe it's premeditated. At that point, when he switches the camera over from the right to the left, it's premeditated.
Out of the car. Get out of the fucking car.
And the question is, at this point, we know. Let me actually. I'm gonna just look at the video that they had before. Because I'd like to know exactly when he drew his weapon. I'm just looking at another screen. Okay. Okay. So we can place it on here. Now, the only thing we see from his camera, the other camera, which I'm sharing only one screen, so I can't really share the other screen, but at this point right here, when she starts going forward, he pulls out the gun. He has his hand on the gun the whole time. At least from what we can see from when he appears in front of the car. Now, let me see. Can I I'm going to kind of go off here. Let me go over to this video here. Oh, that's our live stream that we got now. Where did it go? Oh, I didn't bring it over. I thought I did. Okay. So as we can see right here, okay, we see right here, he already has his hand on the gun. Okay, now this officer is blocking Jonathan Ross here. Okay. He has his hand on the gun the whole entire time. My assumption is, because there's another thing I think that's quite interesting as well, is if we go back to our original video right here.
U.S. citizen, former fucking veteran. You want to come at us? You want to come at us? I say go get yourself some lunch, big boy. Go ahead.
Out of the car. Get out of the fucking car.
It almost seems like at this time, I don't know about you. You can tell me if you see it. It does look like at this time, because remember, he switches the camera from one hand to the other here. He has it in the right hand. He switches it over.
You want to come at us?
Well, actually, it looks like he might have had it in.
Come talk to us.
Or excuse me, he had it. Okay, let me rephrase this again. Well, no, actually, when did he switch it? I might be wrong here.
Former fucking veteran.
Okay, so he's here.
You want to come at us?
And it looks like he might have switched it to, okay, so no, this is right. Okay, this is right. So he had it in the right hand, and it's at this moment he switches it over to the left hand, which gives him the ability to hold on to his firearm. Okay, now, if we look at this,
You want to come at us?
and I want you to see the wife's reaction here. So you can see he insults her, and then she all of a sudden kind of like backs down and starts going toward the car, right?
Go get yourself some lunch, big boy. Go ahead.
Out of the car. Get out of the car.
See, at that point, it almost seems like she wants to get back in the car. Does he have his hand on his gun already? We don't know, but we know by the time that the move is made here, we know by this time he already has his hand on the gun. So, I mean, is this premeditated murder or what? And what deems, okay, because his life was not in danger. Let's go back to the look at the steering wheel.
Get out of the car.
Whoa! Then that fucking bitch. Yep,
You want to come at us?
I mean, every intention was there to make sure that that something was going to happen to her. Because here's another thing. If they really wanted to stop her, why didn't they shoot out her tires? Okay, I watch, and it's been a guilty pleasure of mine recently, I will admit. I've been watching these shows where people, cop cars go after people who have a stolen vehicle or whatever. And almost in every situation, once the person starts going, they just let them go. Okay, and again, let's go back to the whole thing. I'm going to just mute it here just to show you. Okay, first and foremost, she saw him right here. You can see, oops, God, I hate when this does that. You can see, come on. You can see her face right there, purely looking at him. He and her have eye contact right now. You can see her mouth there. They both have eye contact. If she wanted to run him over, she could have done it right now. Because here's another thing. At this point, I believe her car was still in drive, or at least in park, right? So it probably was in drive. Well, it could have been in park. It could have been in park. My guess is it probably wasn't. Let's look at her wheels right off the bat. Like, she's not moving her wheels right now, but she is backing. It does look like, yeah, she's backing up right now. Okay. She has eye contact with him the whole entire time. If she wanted to run him over, she could have done it right then. She wanted to run him over again later on in the video. She could have done it right here. Why did she wait? Also, why did she totally turn her wheel the other way? I'm sorry, but this makes me mad. This comes to the point that on this channel, I mean, I hate to say it, I am a person who wants to talk about campaigns and elections, but this shit in this country has gotten too bad. Okay. This is now I'm going to admit something. I've always thought America was fucked up. I thought there's something uniquely fucking stupid with Americans, but part of that is just being absolutely racist and absolutely violent. And they're showing now that they can just willy-nilly do violence on anyone. They don't give a rat's ass. Okay. Me doing this live stream probably has some sort of, something going on at DHS now where people are going to be watching me. Who knows? I hate conspiracy theories, but you can't rule out anything nowadays. But yeah. And I told somebody this, like, I don't even see videos coming out of Russia of people being shot by the police. I've lived in Russia. I lived in Russia between January and June of 2019. As a matter of fact, I might. I don't know if I still have it here. I don't. I was going to look for basically my Russian social security card. Okay. I lived in Russia. I feel more in fear right now living in the United States, expressing my opinion, than I did when I was visiting Russia. Well, not visiting, I was actually working in Russia. And yeah, this is getting worse. And the problem with Americans, for us, I'm not talking about your stupid Trump, fucking knuckle dragging troglodyte. I'm talking about intellectual people. For your average Americans, we're not, we're not used to this. So like when I was in Russia, and I'll give you the example when I was in Russia. When I was in Russia, and sorry, I got the heater on and it's like burning up in here. When I was in Russia, I could say whatever I wanted to about whatever. But when it came to talking about Putin, and you'll see these videos about people in Russia, like they ask, what do you think of Putin? And they say, oh, I'm not interested in politics and all that. That basically was my answer. Okay, there was one time I was at Startup Cafe in Murmansk. Startup Coffee, it was called, in Murmansk. Love that place. One of my favorite places to have a coffee in the world. I loved it there, and I really wanted to go back, but the damn war started again. I was sitting at a couch in the back of the restaurant, or at the back of the cafe, and I was watching the news on my phone. They showed Trump, and like the waitress came up to me, and she said, oh, Trump. I go, I hate Trump. She actually looked over both of his shoulders and she goes, I hate Putin. And everyone who I knew in Russia, they didn't talk about politics one to one another, but they would talk about it to me and talk about how much they did not like Putin. Okay. I still feel in this country, we do have a little bit of agency to some sort to actually speak our mind. But, and people tell me this, it's like everyone talks about 1930s and all that. I lived in Russia. I lived in Russia for technically 6 months. This feels way more like what's happening in Russia right now. And then we could throw in there, invading Venezuela to kidnap their leader, right? Now, I didn't plan on, I made the video yesterday about the concept of fascism in the United States. And I'm making the video today once this footage came out. And again, I don't know how the conservatives think that this is a real thing. And if you do believe this is a real thing, you're either somebody who's manipulating people, because here's the thing about JD Vance. He goddamn well knows what the truth is. Okay, that couch fucking motherfucker, he knows what the truth is. He and Ted Cruz and people like that, they're the manipulators. They know, hey, we can get the tax cuts, we can get the oil, we can get everything as long as we tell the stupid peons God, guns, and gays. Okay, and I'm going to put my Trump sign up there, okay? They stay in power because so many Americans are uniquely fucking stupid. Okay? And this is when it comes, and you might have heard this when I talk about campaigns and elections. I always say issues don't matter. And they don't, when half of the United States doesn't even know what the fucking issues are. Okay, they're just like, he has a gun, I like him. That's why, what was it, 10, 15 years ago, you started having Republicans, but Joe Manchin as well, who is basically a Republican, and their commercials like shooting guns and blowing up shit, because these people they look at politics as a monster fucking truck show, right? We have a uniquely stupid electorate in this country. Now, not to say that other countries don't have that, but like in Russia, in other places, there is a coercion into voting. It's like, you better vote for our guy or you're going to fall out of a window. Here in the United States, we picked this. Okay. Now I know people are saying voter fraud, blah, blah, blah. There wasn't any in 2020. I know everyone's talking about that one project about what happened in Nevada and all that. No, there wasn't any. Okay, I've looked at their data. I looked at what they had, and what they had is, maybe there's a change in trends, but nothing indicates that there is actually voter fraud. No, I live in rural America, and I think a lot of people who do watch my channel, if they're not watching it from overseas, live in pretty strong Democratic areas. Let me tell you, the fucking crazy people that you hear about who are the Trump people, they exist. I'm surrounded by them. Trust me, they're not rare. Okay, so just as much as you have Trump people who say, "Oh, these liberals don't exist," a lot of liberals don't realize that these Trump people exist, and they both do. The only difference is that liberals use rationale mostly, whereas conservatives are just knuckle dragging Neanderthals that think God, guns, and gays. So I just wanted to I've been on here for 35 minutes, not many views today, but I just wanted to get this one off my chest. I don't know if I want to actually go down this route, as I've mentioned, because I'm going to say stuff that the Democrats don't like as well. But as I mentioned in my last video, we're beyond Democrat and Republican. There is a democracy party and there is a fascist party. The Republican Party is a fascist party that should be deemed a terrorist organization. And, let's look at all the violence that happens as far as terrorism. So they're sitting there talking about how this woman is a domestic terrorist. Okay, who is the biggest domestic terrorist that the United States has had in our most recent history, if not all history? Timothy McVeigh. Who do you think he would have voted for if he was alive in the last presidential election? The last three. Guarantee you he would have had a damn Trump flag sitting outside his house. Absolutely. Because, you have him doing that. You look at all the shootings. Even when people shoot Trump, they're usually right-wingers. Charlie Kirk's shooter was a right-winger. Every one of these people that we really see are usually right-wingers. Now, there is one left-winger, and that's Lee Harvey Oswald. But like in almost every other case, it's a right-winger going into, like, whether it be Walmart in El Paso, whether it be a church in Charleston, all of this violence is done by the right wings because they're fucking nuts and they have the guns. Okay? This is the reason why when Republicans talk about Democratic violence or left-wing violence, they have to use some guy that shot at Steve Scalise and didn't even kill him, right? This is the example that they have to use because they have no examples. Okay. So it's right. Do you think Trump is smart enough to be a fascist? You don't have to be smart. I mean, one could really say that Mussolini was a fucking idiot. And Hitler for the most part. Now, the people who surrounded him were pretty clever. Not saying that in a good way, but they were. Okay, they were smart. They're a little bit too efficient, if you know what I mean. This is the whole idea of authoritarianism. I mean, and maybe we shouldn't be calling it fascist. We should maybe just be calling it authoritarianism. Okay, because that's really where we are, where we have one person determining what to do. Okay, and this is another thing when we have to ask ourselves about, I'm going to take this off because I'm done listening now. This is another thing we have to ask ourselves when we talk about campaigns and elections, right? Because with campaigns and elections, Trump has already shown that he can circumvent Congress. Yeah, he gives Congress a little bit of stuff here and there, but he's willy-nilly spending money, giving money away, cutting money without congressional approval. The question becomes, in an authoritarian regime, when do the other branches of government either are, parts of the main executive or just non-existent? And this is my worry when it comes to the Democrats, that let's say they take the House and the Senate. Okay. Doesn't matter. Okay. At what point do the Republicans say that it's null and void? Okay. Then they might go to the Supreme Court. At what point does Trump say, the Supreme Court's null and void? Okay. Because this is something I've been mentioning for the last, year now? Trump has the Army, he has the Department of Justice, and he has the FBI. He has all three of those. And when it comes to justices, he's got those who are paid off, like Clarence Thomas. I mean, we know Clarence Thomas is paid off. Okay, given like RVs and shit like that, right? We know he's paid off. We know his wife was paid off. And this is, I think, one of the differences between European countries, even Eastern and Central European countries and the United States, is corruption in those countries are called corruption, whereas corruption in this country is called lobbying. But we do have pure corruption, and it just seems to never be prosecuted. Look at the 2008 financial crisis. Okay. One person was prosecuted for that, for collapsing the whole entire American economy, essentially. That's where we are. But now we are at a point where it's just murder on the streets of America, and these people don't care. And these people, and see, this is what gets it. This is what gets me. It wasn't, I mean, the murder is horrible, obviously. It's the fact that the Republicans went with the fucking narrative that they went with, even with all the evidence out there, even with our own damn eyes. And we can see, like with the video that I just showed you, we could see what happened. And yet the Republicans are able to look, or again, J.D. Vance created this. J.D. Vance is not dumb. He's not dumb. Okay. But he is, he's a preacher. He's like a preacher. I mean, like I said, the guy became a U.S. Senator he's a goober who wrote a book about other goobers, insulting them, yet those goobers ended up voting for him, right? And it shows the mentality of those people. You're not going to change a lot of these Republicans. The Republicans have become a party of a Ponzi scheme party. And now everything's for the taking. And this is why, and this is one of the reasons why I say get out of America if you have the chance. Because with these goobers running everything, it's going to collapse. Okay? The insular way in which they look at things through tariffs, I was going to say isolationism, but it's very much an interventionist policy or whatnot. They're going to collapse. Okay? And I'd rather be on the outside looking in than on the inside suffering. So if you have the chance, please. How does Trump have the army? Please elaborate. He's commander in chief. He can change all the generals and put in new generals who are loyal to him. Project 2025, they're asking everybody, are you loyal to the president? Not to the Constitution, not to the United States. Hell, not even to the fucking flag. They're saying, are you loyal to Donald Trump? That's how he has the army. Okay? And they're going to recruit people in the army that are going to support him. Okay? The ICE is just the kind of like the test run. And somebody mentioned this on my channel the other day. What we've been seeing, like all these things that Trump has done, and being able to get away with that without any punishment whatsoever, they're just inching further and further. Say, how far can we goddamn go? That's what they're saying. Oh, we just shot an innocent civilian and we can totally take over the case and no one will be in charge. Let's go ahead and start doing that now. Okay. So yeah, Donald Trump's in charge of the FBI. Okay. He's in charge of the Justice Department. The Justice Department can determine who they're going to prosecute and who they're not going to prosecute. And Donald Trump can tell them who that is. The FBI can decide to arrest people, investigate people and all that, or not investigate people. That is totally within his purview. ICE, we already know. The Army, he's commander in chief. He is the executive. There is no, oversight with the exception of funding and the quote unquote authorization for the use of military force, which is a BS thing nowadays anyway. There's no congressional oversight on the military, with the exception of the budget and spending. And there's none as far as the Supreme Court. So he can do whatever he wants. Okay. So that's where we're at. I didn't plan on doing a video today. I mean, I did the one video about Florida. If you haven't seen my Florida one, go ahead and check it out. I had thought about doing kind of a commentary live stream every day like this in the afternoon or the evening. But I just saw this video. I wanted to jump on and just talk about how this video that we have here, this video that we got here just purely shows murder. I mean, if any state's going to secede, I would say that basically New England should do it and become part of Canada. I would move there. See, unfortunately, states like Illinois are going to be kind of stuck in the middle. And I do think that we should come to the point of a grand divorce where there are 50 individual countries. It just has to be done. Okay? Because these goober, hyper religious white supremacists, I have nothing in common with them. I have nothing in common with them at all. And that's where we're at right now. So yeah, this is a bad day. And again, the bad part about this, and this isn't an organized video or whatever. I will admit I'm just on the ranting phase today. This video and what the Republicans have said, that's the problem. Them shooting, like if she was shot, they could have immediately said, we're sorry this happened. We're going to investigate it. We don't know all the details, but as soon as we have all the details, we can go ahead and figure out what's going on and we'll get back to you and all that. And then they could have just buried it, right? They've done this before, right? They could have just buried it. Now, of course, having a lot of video out there doesn't help them. But the fact that they had video out there from more than multiple angles, and this dipshit actually showing his phone video, thinking that it would help, we have all the angles to prove that this son of a bitch was guilty. Okay, and should be hung by his fucking toenails, right? We have the proof here. And yet, they immediately are like, Antifa, terrorist, use the car as a weapon, this, that, and the other. Okay, now, I usually don't talk about this. Actually, I never talk about this, but I will. Back in 1991, I was at a Taco Bell in Orlando, Florida, in Metro West. And this was, like I said, 1991. I had just turned 18 years old. Okay. I went there to pick up a paycheck because I used to work at the Taco Bell. I ended up quitting. I used to work at that Taco Bell, just turned 18 years old. At this time, this was right when I was starting to work in politics as well. I go and I pick up my paycheck, and there are these two guys that did not like me. The reason they didn't like me is because their girlfriend kind of had a problem with flirting with other people. And so this guy was mad because she was flirting at me. I'm like, I can't do anything about this. Anyways, I go out of the Taco Bell and they start following me. Okay. I did exactly what she did. I backed my car out. Now, this was an old 1987 Chevy Citation 2. Okay, that I was driving. You had to look down at the little bar that went over and then shift on the steering wheel. So I'm looking down, shifting to drive. As I start going, unlike the cop here, they jumped in front of my car and I hit them going nearly about the speed she was, 2-3 miles an hour, right? Nearly walking speed. I actually then put my car into park because I hit them, not expecting to. They actually came to my window and started beating the hell out of me. Okay. I got arrested. Well, the cops came to my house that night and they said, we're going to take down all the information and all that. Okay. And I'm like, okay. And they said, we don't think it's going to be anything. The guy ended up going to the hospital or whatever, I don't even know if he went to the hospital. He went to the doctor or whatever. And one of them got a brace on his knee, like both of them did or something like that. So nothing happened immediately. I then go to Illinois to go visit my grandfather. It was around Christmas. It was actually at Christmas and New Year's. Go up. My grandfather was visiting when all this was happening. I decided to go up to Illinois, stay up there for a couple of weeks, and then he was going to come back down. During this time, and this is where it gets really fucking weird. During this time, the guy who had the girlfriend that was flirting with everyone, was actually murdered by another person because of the same exact situation. Now, I'm in Illinois when this happens, but like they actually he actually got murdered. Okay? And so I come back to Illinois. I come back to Florida after being in Illinois. And they're like, "Yeah, did you hear what happened?" I'm like, "No, what happened?" They're like, "Yeah, that guy got killed." I go, "How?" Like somebody murdered him. It's like, holy shit. So I don't hear anything about my case anymore, except for the last day in which they could arrest me. So I found out that what happened is they wanted to have me be discredited as a witness in his trial. So they went ahead and arrested me. They arrested me for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Okay. The same thing that they're saying with these people. So I had to end up going to trial and all this kind of stuff and everything. What was my punishment? My punishment was now remember, I hit 2 people. Okay. She didn't even hit anyone. I hit 2 people. Okay. 1 day in jail, $300 payment in medical bills for the one guy who was still alive, and on probation until I paid off those medical bills, which like a few months. Okay. That was my punishment. And I actually hit 2 people. She hit no one and paid with her life. That shows just how fucked up this is. Okay. Because I've been in that exact situation. I mean, not with an officer, but she did not need to get out of that car. They told her to get out of the car. There was no probable reason for them, especially when she's trying to leave the scene, there was no probable reason for them to tell her to get out of the car. Yeah, I don't know. This country is getting stupid. There's a reason why they want to cut education funding. There's a reason why they want to make sure that everyone goes to private school, religious institutions, right, that run private school. They want to make people stupid. Keep them stupid, keep them sheep, right? That's where they are, and so on. Now, when it comes to the people in Portland, again, the only problem with the Portland one is we don't have, as far as I know, we don't have any videos of that situation. Okay. In the case of the Minnesota situation, we have tons of videos. And again, as I mentioned, it's not a coincidence that it happened in a predominantly white neighborhood that voted 88% for Kamala Harris, that usually have flags supporting certain social justice issues hanging from their houses, right? And this to me is going beyond that. It's going to, if you're a liberal, then you're on the list. That's what they're saying. That's actually what they're saying now. And it's come to a point where this country is dangerous to live in. I never thought I'd say that. I had thought about going to a protest tonight. The problem is I live in the middle of nowhere around all these Trump morons, and it takes a while to go up to Chicago or St. Louis or something like that. But here we are, people. We are in a country in which, if you're not part of the Dear Leader crowd, you probably have a target on you. It's sad. It's sad. It's what it is. I just want to go through some of the comments before we go. So, greetings from Germany. I do not speak German, so I don't know what that means. But thank you for thank you for joining me tonight. Again, did not plan to do this. Let me know if you want me to do some live streams. I'm thinking kind of like doing a live stream show in the evening, but I don't know if I want to do that yet. If I do, I might do that on another channel. I only got 2 other channels. Why not do a third? And when I get to Europe, I want to do a travel channel. Why not do a 4th? I'll be like that Whistler, that Whistler guy you see doing all those videos, but without the millions of dollars. Um, don't pay taxes, boycott, protest, organize. I mean, there comes a point where people, I mean, I'm not going to say anything now. You know, when I get to Europe permanently, I'll say what I want to say. But I'm not going to say anything now. Um, do we know anything about where this dipshit is? No, and that's where I hope the internet does their work. Yeah. Whoa, stands in front of a car moving at 0.0 miles an hour. Right. Yeah, like honestly, so people are mentioning some election stuff. I can't even think about it. I mean, looking at this, I mean, I don't even know if elections are going to be a thing. Okay, they'll happen. And even if they are a thing, let's say the Democrats take control of the House and the Senate, which I think they could take control of the Senate. It's not through Texas, though. So people talking about James Tallarico and whatever, it's not going to happen there. It's going to happen through Iowa. It's going to happen through Alaska. It's going to happen through Maine. It's not going to happen through Texas. Yeah. And then the other question is, if Fetterman changes parties or if he pulls a Kristen Sinema or something like that, do the Democrats need another seat? Because that's another thing. But it really doesn't matter if you're just trying to stop the Republicans, as long as the Democrats have the House, if we still live in a country of laws and norms, then, then we'll see. Hitler had some idiots around him. Well, that's true. He had smart people. He had idiots. Like Trump, he has smart people and he has idiots. I really think that JD Vance is a provocateur for his own, for himself, right? He didn't he say that like Trump was like Hitler or something like that before? Now all of a sudden he's shilling for him, right? Republicans are such the opportunist. It's fucking sick. Let's see. Yeah, Trump. Okay, but see, here's the thing. If Trump loses, so somebody says here, Trump has voiced concern about losing the House and the Senate. So I'm not too sold that taking back Congress doesn't matter. I'm still in that boat. Okay, I'm not saying I'm still not in that boat. We need to all think that all of this does matter until the point in which it doesn't matter. Right? Kind of like what we see with this shooting. That law, order, and justice matters until it doesn't matter. Right? So yeah, of course he's going to want to win the House and the Senate because then he doesn't have to do anything. He doesn't have to do the authoritarian push. But once that election happens, then, he's going to do that. And the one thing that I do want to do as well is I want to try to figure out a way, and please, if you're watching this and you're on Discord, please go down to my Discord, become a member, check it out. We're talking about campaigns and elections and all that. One thing I would like to do is I would like to know what supervisor of elections, what local election officials, which state election officials that progressives and liberals and Democrats should be keeping their eye on, because they're going to maybe do a little funny stuff during the election. Because I really do think that we need to create a community to keep an eye on what Republicans do. So, Kentucky's going Republican. I'll put money on that. Kentucky's going Republican. I don't think Fetterman would change parties because here's the thing. If he changes parties, he just becomes one of a bunch of Republican senators. If he's an independent, he becomes the kingmaker. Once you change parties, you've already, cast where you are. You've lost your power. Unless you're in the leadership, you lost your power. But if you're that independent, you not only determine how policy goes, like Manchin and Cinema did, you can also determine who the leaders are of the House and the Senate. You can determine what party is in power. So being an independent is a lot stronger than being a Republican. He goes to the Republicans. Like right now, I would say, yeah, Fetterman's a piece of shit. And he's just one of the other Democrats out there. And this, you know what this proves? This proves that Chuck Schumer isn't the worst Democratic senator out there, oddly enough. So like Trump might try to corner Canada and Greenland and maybe invade, right? I mean, I didn't even talk, or I talked very little about what happened in Venezuela, right? We have this situation in Venezuela where, they kidnap a leader of a sovereign nation, which is clearly against the UN Charter. Now, again, as I've said before, and I'll say it again, it's unfortunate that international law isn't enforceable. We try to adhere to it, but who comes over and arrests Donald Trump for breaking the law? Okay. So that's what I mean by it's unenforceable. It's just not enforceable. Yeah, exactly. Arlen Specter, Arlen Specter from the same state and seat did switch parties, and he got his ass handed to him in the primaries, and the same could happen to Fetterman, right? Because I don't think Fetterman would he'd probably be primaried by a Trump Republican. Absolutely. So yeah. All right. Well, it's been over an hour. I just wanted to go over this video because it just not a big live stream, but I've been thinking about doing maybe some of these, maybe creating another channel that's just purely commentary. I don't like putting my commentary stuff on this channel, but ever since the murder of Renee Good and the Trump administration trying to say she's like Antifa and stuff like that, it shows that they can commit cold-blooded murder. So if you have ICE in your neighborhood, watch out because they're murderous thugs. That's what